Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Just Simply Sports here with me. I am Kaja. If you're new here, please hit that like and subscribe button. Do not be afraid to leave a comment because I do respond, and sometimes it gets a little bit spicy in those comments from reading what you guys have to say to me sometimes, especially when it pertains to the subject of MVP. Now, you guys, we have been talking here on my channel the past few weeks about the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, and Russ we trust. I always say that if you've been here, you know how I feel about Russell Wilson. But the Steelers, the latter part of the season, just did not end well. We gotta call a spade, right? So there's been a lot of speculation the past few days as to whether or not the Steelers should move on from Mike Tomlin, should he move on from the Steelers, move on from Russ, Justin Fields, and so on and so forth. And Mike Tomlin was asked directly about other teams who were inquiring about his services. And he spoke to the media, and here is what he respectfully had to say.
I have no response to that. I understand the nature of what it is that we do, the attention and criticism that comes with it. As a matter of fact, I embrace it, to be quite honest with you. I enjoy the urgency that comes with what I do and what we do. I don't make excuses for failure. I own it.
At least one team has reached out to inquire about your availability, understanding that you have no trade clause in your contract. What's your message to any team that may reach out to the Steelers to gauge interest or availability in your services?
I have no message. Save your time.
Okay.
Oh man, that is hilarious. I just saw that he said save your time, but I didn't actually hear like the full question and how it actually sounds. You know what I mean? You read it is one thing, but to hear it is completely different. Oh, you guys, that was hilarious. And he meant exactly what he said. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. The students have come out and they said they're not moving on from Mike Tomlin either. So this marriage will not be heading for divorce, you guys. Although we feel like there should be a separation, they don't agree. They want to work through their problems. And that's what you should do, right? When things get tough, you don't just get going, right? You work it out. You go to counseling. You figure some things out, try some new things. Something, you guys, I feel like we expect sometimes too much, in a sense, from NFL owners, GMs, because at the end of the day, they're just like us, right? Obviously, they have billions and millions in their accounts and, vacation homes and things like that. But at their core, they're still human beings, right? And like a lot of people, we are afraid of change. Like we might know that it's time to move on and move forward, but for a million different reasons, we're afraid of one of the reasons, should I say, we're afraid of what's on the other side. You know what I mean? It's like I've been with this person, I've been at this job for so long, I leave here, I move forward. And then what happens? You know what I mean? You really have to be careful when it comes to coaches, especially one that does have a history of winning, even if it doesn't translate to the playoffs, he still gets there. No matter what quarterback he has, no matter who he has on the roster, he still finds a way to still have winning seasons. Obviously, if you're a Steelers fan, you want them to win Super Bowl, right? You want them to at least have some sort of playoff success. I completely understand that. But at the same sense, who are you going to give if you move on from Mike Tomlin? You divorce him, right? We're done. That's it. I'm tired of you. Who is available right now with a proven track record of success? And that's the thing. There are a lot of coaches who are on the come up. You know what I mean? A lot of young coaches, who have had great success as offensive coordinators. Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Brian Flores. Obviously he was a head coach, but that didn't work out the first time, and so on and so forth. But nevertheless, just because someone is really good at being a defensive coordinator does not mean that they can be a head coach. People are employees for a reason. Everybody cannot be an employer. Everybody cannot be a boss. Everybody cannot lead a team of men. And I think you have to be really careful if you are the owner about moving on from him. And unless you're really, really sure who you're getting in return is going to be better, because you don't want to move on And then next thing you know, you go from having a winning season to just like being 4 and 12 or something like that. You know what I mean? You're gonna tread lightly.
That's what you tell people when you don't want them bothering you. Just save your time.
So to be clear, insider extraordinaire Kimberly
Mhm.
Martin, we should cross off the list of things that might happen this offseason, the possibility of Mike Tomlin getting traded to another team.
Because if Mike Tomlin were to go somewhere else, it's because Mike Tomlin wants to leave. And that did not sound like a man who wants to leave. I think, I think how the fans feel about him is a completely different conversation than how he is viewed internally. And unfortunately, year after year, his players at the end of the season always come to bat for him and say, Tomlin, we love him, he should stay. The problem is because the players don't show up in these games, they lose games, and then we're looking at Mike Tomlin wondering what's going on. Listen, Mike Tomlin doesn't want to go anywhere, but he has to change what the standard is.
Which means, Hawk, you said in our meeting this morning, what do you think he should want?
I think if I'm Mike Tomlin, I would want to leave this situation. Not because the Steelers isn't an incredible organization or the Rooneys aren't the best ownership group in the league. Those things are true. Also true, Mike Tomlin is an incredible coach.
Mhm.
He is too good of a coach to be put in a position where you typically get one of the top quarterbacks. In the AFC, if you don't have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, or Joe Burrow, it's going to be tough sledding with the team that you have. Can you win it with a caliber of quarterback mid-tier like Russell Wilson, Sam Darnold? Yes, but to your point, Jeff, you need a big dog at running back.
Sure.
You need a bona fide number one receiver, and not the collection of players that they have right now offensively.
Agreed.
And that's honestly where I'm at with it, you guys. I feel like we have to, I said this yesterday in a different video talking about Sam Darnold. We have to stop expecting all quarterbacks to look like Josh, look like Lamar, a young Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes, because everyone is not going to look like that. That's just the reality of it. You have people who are generational talents, those who are just exceptionally talented and gifted, where they have something within them that they've just been born with, a natural God-given gift that other players don't have. You're not going to have a lot of game changers. I feel like you're going to find more game managers than anything. So for Mike Tomlin, and they want to keep him, he wants to stay, whatever, right? That's just reality of it. We got to deal with it and just find a way to build around it. Now, I know that Russell Wilson gets a lot of flack because of how he looked. I think if he had went straight from Seattle to Pittsburgh, it might be different. But because he had such an awful experience in Denver, Daniel Hackett got fired, and then Sean Payton was so disrespectful towards Russ. Don't even get me started. But he had those experiences, and we can't act like we didn't see it, right? We can't unsee how awful he looked and how it just completely fell like to the ground, like it just burned down, right? So I feel like because Russ is obviously older too, and he's won a Super Bowl, future ballot Hall of Famer, been 2 Super Bowls, won one. You judge him by how he used to look and how he is now. He doesn't have the same athleticism and things like that. I really feel like if Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith had really put their heads together and really come up with a game plan to utilize both Justin and Russell, they may have had some different success, because as much as Justin's athletic, he's young, he can do things, that he can extend plays in ways that Russ can't, with his legs and his athleticism. There are things that Russell can do that Justin can't. And I feel like he should have used that balance, that odd couple, you know what I mean? If you want to call it that, Oscar and Felix, if you watched the show back in the day, you know what I'm talking about. And maybe they would have found some success with that, as opposed to just having Russell out there or Justin out there, and then bringing Justin in for like 1 snap, 2 snaps, and then, 1 play, he's out. That's it. Come in, Justin. As soon as he comes in, he's going to run, and slide first down. That's it. He's back on the sideline. You know what I mean? Like, there was no creativity, no versatility within that offense that even made other teams, the better teams, feel like they had to be afraid. You know what I mean? Like, there were some teams, I feel like, this is a fan watching, like, you're like, ooh, They got Lamar on that side. Let me get some rest. Let me make sure I get my treatment because it's going to be a hell of a game if I got to make sure that I'm running after Lamar and trying to contain him with Derrick Henry and Josh Allen jumping over people and so on and so forth, right? But if you're going to keep Mike Tomlin at this point, you're going to have to bring somebody in. To me, Arthur Smith is not it. You need somebody who can think outside the box, someone who is creative, someone who is versatile in the way they see things. But looking at those last few games, I can't put it all on Russ. The team as a whole, like when they were winning games, everyone was playing better. And if you look at Russell Wilson, that game with the Bengals, honestly, I thought they might lose because Joe Burrow is so good, but they went back and forth scoring touchdowns. You know what I mean? So Russ can still give you that offense. However, it has to be within the right system, the right players around him. And I feel like as they started to lose games, they lost faith, they lost interest, and that ultimately is why they came into the playoffs looking like they didn't want to be there. I feel like watching Russ, I feel like he was one of the very few people I saw on the field who was still trying to win that game. He really, really was trying. The defense just looked like, it's Lamar. We lost 4 in a row. We're gonna lose this one. We can't win what we have. And then even in hearing them after, in the post game press conferences, what happened to TJ Watt? Like, he was a complete no-show. Like, we were talking about him being as great as Myles Garrett and so on and so forth. Like, where did he go? And I think, low-key, if I'm the Steelers, I'm going to try to get Myles Garrett on my roster. Real talk. You know what I mean? Because TJ is great. You know what I mean? He's obviously great, but you can't disappear in big games and in big moments. Like, he disappeared the last few games. I know he was hurt, but he just didn't look like himself. You got George Pickens, who's talented, but his attitude's in a way. He's temperamental. He doesn't get the ball thrown. He doesn't want to play as hard. He's giving up on routes and different things. Like, you can't win like that. So I feel like as a whole, they need an entirely new offensive line. It needs to be dialed up all the way to the nines. And I feel like if you put the right pieces in place, you can win. You absolutely can win. I don't think it's just all on the quarterback. Unless you're going to bring somebody in who's Lamar Jackson-esque, Josh Allen-esque, who's going to put the cape on, and you know what I mean, then you're going to be stuck the same place you are every single season. And even if you have someone who's that great, you're still going to run into a wall eventually, because no one can win every single game without help. No one can win the whole season and then carry the team into the playoffs all the way to the championship, the Super Bowl, and then win a ring, without the proper help around them. All these teams are leveling up. You got the young QBs who will come in. The Commanders will come in. Caleb Williams, I think he'll look better next season. Don't expect the Cowboys to look as awful as it did this season. There's so many teams that are going to be getting better, next season. And I feel like if they want to compete, it's not just about the quarterback, not even just about Mike Tomlin. I feel like that roster needs to be dialed up all the way, you guys. And ultimately, if they're not going to do that, then we as the fans have to just adjust our expectations and understand that we're going to root for them this season. They're going to win games in the regular season. And then when the postseason comes, they're going to be one and done. And then that's just that. So either get used to it, accept it, or find a new team to root for. Because this marriage, like I said, it's not headed for divorce, you guys. But what do you think about Mike Tomlin, about the Steelers, about their complacency, how they can fix this team, this roster? Let me know in those comments. I'll see you in the next video.